Welcome to subramani.com. Many people do not understand the full process of getting rich. Let me very quickly tell you, it is earn well, study well, or create a good source of income, save well, save smartly, invest smartly, and stay through the whole process. Understand enough about taxation. Right, these are some very important steps, and these steps are again necessary but not sufficient, right? So one important thing which many people do, especially in certain communities, they think they can get rich by doing two things. One is living frugally and saving very, very aggressively, right? Now, these are absolutely necessary. Don't make a mistake. These are absolutely necessary. It is absolutely necessary for you to do this, because without doing this you can't take the next step, and the next step is investing. But just living frugally and saving well means what? It means you will keep your money in things like fixed deposit, endowment plans, PPF, right? That is what saving does. Living frugally means a lot of money will be there in your hands. Whatever you earn, you will spend less. So typically these are people who will argue, I always travel by bus, I always travel by train, I don't take an auto rickshaw. That's fine, that's fine. You formed a good habit of living frugally. That does not mean you will get rich. Keeping money in debt instrument means your money gets preserved. Even worse, when you keep money in bank fixed deposit, you get interest, and on interest you pay the current tax rates, whatever it be, 30%, 43%, doesn't matter. What you have done is you have earned well, you have lived well, lived frugally when that is by choice, and therefore you have saved well, and all that money is in the savings bank account or in the bank FD, or right. So, and on that you pay tax at regular rates. What is the return that you will end up getting? At current market rates, you will end up getting 3-4% kind of return, and that 3-4% is perhaps a wee bit less than the inflation rate applicable to you. The applicable rate to you could be 12%, but I'm just assuming it is 8%. You're still getting only 3-4%, which means you are actually destroying wealth. जैसे हिंदी में कहते हैं पैसा तोड़ रहे हो. It's your money, but it is not growing, it is not enough. Why do we save and why do we invest? It is not we are doing the world a favor, it is for our own expenses at a later stage. So if you're 30, you're saving money for your retirement. If you're 20, you're saving money maybe to buy a house, maybe to make a down payment, maybe to buy a car. It is not that you're doing the world a favor by saving money or even living frugally. You have a purpose for doing that. If you're doing living frugally and saving without a purpose, again something is wrong with you. So to meet your goals, and assuming you have reasonable goals, I am not saying that you have outlandish goals. You have goals which can be achieved at 11%, 10% kind of growth. How are you ever going to be able to do it living on interest, or keeping your money only in interest bearing securities which show no variability but show the highest taxation, right? So even assuming that you want to only save and you are afraid of equity markets, keep your money in a debt mutual fund, and they are safe in spite of whatever you hear from the press, and keep it in the growth option, so that at least you defer your tax by a few decades. At least if you're 25 and you kept money in a debt instrument which you don't and you don't require the money till you're 60, it means you pay tax after 35 years. So at least do these things, and then slowly start putting money at least in ELSS, which means you're putting away 1.5 lakhs a year in equity, and promise yourself that you will put it into the same ELSS for 10 years. So do an SIP for whatever amount, maybe 12,000 rupees. After you have to make sure that it is 1.5 lakhs, but that 1.5 lakhs unfortunately includes your provident fund, your children's school fees. If you are bought a house, then the loan repayment all put together is 1.5 lakhs. So there's not much of a window there. So if you were to put money at least in ELSS, at least 10,000 a month, forget how much is the total deduction under ATC. then at least you know that a portion of your money is going into equity. And I am suggesting this for people who are so scared of equity, and promise yourself you will look at it only after 10 years. You keep looking at it, that is not a problem, but don't interrupt. If you found a good fund manager with a decent track record and you are getting 8%, 9%, suddenly dipping to 4%, suddenly going to 12%, believe me, you are in good company. Do not touch it for 10, 15 years. You will have some kind of a return which will be superior to other returns because of two things. One, you did not touch it for a long period of time, so compounding worked. Second, you did not pay tax on a regular basis, so full amount worked. So it's very simple, right? You've invested 100 rupees in an asset class, it gives you 10% return. So out of the 10 rupees that you get, you will lose 3.5, 4 rupees to tax. So only 7 rupees gets reinvested next year. Whereas in a mutual fund, in a growth option, you will put 100 rupees, that will become 110. 110 will become say 121, 121 will become 135, 135 will become 142. 1 year you got a bad return, but then 142 will become 152, right? So interest keeps getting accrued. In case of mutual funds, we do not even call it interest, so it's just a growth option where your money keeps growing and you do not pay tax, and you will pay tax whenever you withdraw, and that could be after 20, 30 years. So at least get the basics right, defer your taxation, and understand that living frugally and saving money will not make you rich. It has got to get invested largely. For the small investor means equity, because even for investing money in real estate, you need big chunks and you have to borrow, so the risks go up. Whereas investing in equity on a monthly basis as an SIP will not hurt you bad during bad times also, like COVID times. Should you reduce your SIP? The answer is of course not, if your cash flow is not impacted. But if your cash flow is impacted, see what else can you give up, and after that come to a painful decision of stopping your SIP, pausing your SIP for 2-3 months, or reducing the amount. If none of that works, then yes, stop your SIP permanently, right? So understand that unless there is equity and equity kind of returns in your portfolio, that too on a deferred basis, because if you are in an equity fund on a growth option, you will not get anything from it except the pleasure of watching it grow over 15-20 years. I call it pleasure, but it is very painful because it's a very slow process, right? So you need to do all those things to get rich. Just living frugally and saving well and keeping it in saving instruments is not going to help. Thank you.